Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on three. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. It's you. Hi, you're the problem. It's you.
What fresh hell?
Laughing in the face of motherhood.
It's the Amy's Problem podcast that you just, listen to every week.
With Margaret Abels
and Amy Wilson.
His friends are my friends too, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
A podcast that solves today's parenting dilemmas
so you don't have to.
I like to bring a blanket to a fire and hide underneath it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. Today, we're talking about whether female friendships are more complicated than male friendships and why that is. And is that a stereotype or is it true?
Yes, and I know why, but okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to listen.
But here's my question for you as we start. Have you ever had a friendship breakup? Olga Kazan wrote about this in The Atlantic. And she's like, this is a thing that everybody deals with. The giant block of text from a female friend, a friendship performance review, and they're listing all your slights and how you're not going to be able to be friends anymore. Friendship breakup. Have you ever had that happen to you?
100% no. I don't even know what it's referencing.
Me neither. And yet, as I researched this episode, there were tons of stories written about how painful it is to go through a friendship breakup and how it's harder than a romantic relationship. And I miss my bestie so much, but we had this terrible breakup. And I thought, when did this start happening? Is this a generational thing? What is this?
No, I don't think it is. I know from Reddit that this happens all the time. I know a danger zone is people's weddings. People break up with their long-term friendship. Like, weddings have become so crazy.
Because you didn't come to my 3-day bachelorette?
You didn't come to the 3-day thing, or you weren't enthusiastic enough about my thing, or I wanted you to buy a dress that cost $800 and you got mad at me, or whatever friendships. And then, I don't know, I definitely see people making TikToks about it. I definitely know people that it's happened to. I have not had a friendship breakup in that way.
I wonder if there is a sort of self-actualization thing that it's like, I need to set a boundary and say that when you don't text me back, it hurts me. And so I think we can't be friends anymore. Like that. Okay, you can feel that way. But the idea that you need to say it and set a boundary. I had a former babysitter. We fired her because I found out that she was taking my kids to like the bank and to get her nails done when she was supposed to be babysitting my kids. So pretty clear cut. Anyway, she wrote me like a year or two later saying, I don't know her on text, I need to clear the air. I think this young person didn't really know what clear the air means. Clear the air means I need to talk about some things to get rid of the lingering tension between us. That's what clearing the air means, right? Like, let's address this issue so we can go back to our relationship. To this person, clearing the air seemed to be these giant blocks of text on why I was a bad person. It was definitely like the opposite of clearing the air. And I was able to not get too triggered by it because I'm like, why do you think I want to read this, need to respond? We don't talk to each other anymore. Why is this happening? So I wonder if it's like a modern day thing.
I don't know. Now that I think about it, I do think in college that I had conversations that were like, you're selfish and only think about yourself, and everyone agrees with me. Like, I definitely remember, I think maybe would just pre-text, you know what I mean? I definitely had phone and or in-person conversations where someone was like, it's you, hi, you're the problem, it's you.
Yeah.
I have surveyed all of our friends and they all agree that you are a terrible person. I mean, I was a theater major. My like drama club friends were definitely into this. Let's once a month have a huge reckoning in which we all list someone's flaws. It's not completely unfamiliar to me.
Yeah, because I think like, why would anybody do this? And then I wonder, okay, are these people who are really holding very, very close friendships at the center of their lives? This is what made me want to do this episode. Is this happening more often than it used to? Is this happening for women more than men? And is that reason that women friendships are more intimate and more tightly held? And I'm not sure about that.
I was just with someone this weekend and we were talking about how we were going to an event one state away, somewhere we don't generally end up. And she said, I texted friends of mine who happen to live in this town and I hadn't talked to them in 6 years. And I was thinking like, oh, will they be mad? Is there something going on here? Or did we just fall out of touch?
Right.
And then she's like, I just texted them. They were thrilled. We had a great lunch. We just fell out of touch.
Right.
But I do think sometimes I think, oh, did we fall out of touch or did we hate each other? I can't remember.
Right. I guess I've just lived in the gray area.
I just always assume that there's nothing wrong. I think I'm a bit of a bull in a china shop.
There's a woman, Michelle Ellman, wrote a new book called Bad Friend. I'll put the link in the show notes. And she posits that men and women are kind of different in their friendships. And she said that a guy will call, oh, that guy's my friend. When's the last time you talked to him? I don't know, like 10 years ago. They wouldn't have that same, oh, like I'm going to be in Rochester and I guess I should see what Sarah's doing, but I haven't talked to her and gosh, it must be 5 years. And will it be weird if I reach out? A guy may or may not reach out, but they would have a little bit less of a should I and will I and is it weird around it.
Correct. My husband has 3 quote unquote best friends from college who were his groomsmen. He has not spoken to any one of that group in 10 years. And he's like, oh yeah, we're going down to this city for a wedding and I'll call up my buddy.
Right.
I'm like, your buddy. Like, I don't know.
Buddy.
I just, right. But also the buddy is going to pick up the phone and be like, hey, it's so great to hear your voice. Yeah, let's definitely go get lunch or whatever. I mean, it's definitely not going to be a problem that they haven't spoken to each other in 10 years.
They won't have to have a hard conversation about how I was really
no
hurt
harm,
when
no
you
foul.
didn't. Right.
No.
Right.
And I do think that the undercurrent, I mean, I always joke that the greatest vacation I could ever take would be to switch heads with my husband for a week because his internal life just seems very quiet and simple to me. And I don't know if it is, but it sure seems like he definitely does not spend time thinking, should I call my friend or is it a problem that we haven't spoken in so long? That is just not going on. And on the flip side, his friend isn't thinking that either.
That's right.
We sometimes do tell ourselves fairly elaborate stories when the story is you guys both had kids and there was a pandemic and you haven't spoken for 6 years because we were all doing other things.
So there was a study done that showed women would report their same gender relationships, their friendships, woman, as their closest friendships. And that men tended to report their relationships with women, not romantic relationships, but their friend. Like my closest friend is this woman. In other words, friendships with women were reported as being closer friendships by both women and men.
I know, but the reason for that, my husband now has no friends that are not my friends. Mm-hmm. He does not maintain friendships. He does in terms of call his roommate from college who hasn't seen in 10 years when we go to this city.
Right, right.
I mean, maybe they've sent joking memes of like the Spider-Mans pointing at each other for some reason to each other, but they're not engaged in what I would call a friendship. I would describe all of my husband's friends as people who I connected him to. And we've only been married for 15 years. 15 years is a long time, but you know what I mean. His friends are my friends too, John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt, because he doesn't have any friends.
I feel like it's a little bit of the opposite with my husband and me. Not that he's bringing me my friends, but that I think he spends more time concentrating on the friendships in his life and nurturing them and reaching out to people. He probably does a better job of that than I do. Again, with zero drama and with no like, are you mad at me that I didn't remember your birthday or whatever? I think he's more intentional than I am. But in both cases, it's pretty certain that Joe is going to be happy to hear from you if you call him up or you send him a text. There's a relaxation around it.
I don't know if it's gendered or if it's just roles. I am definitely the social engine of our relationship. But he's also, I think, a person who just kind of does a little bit more like what's in front of him. But I'm also 100% sure he has never been in a conflict with another human being besides me in his entire life. He's just not a person who,
Right.
he's not deep in it, you know?
That was my next question for you is, do you think the people who have like big fights with their friends and breakup texts and all that kind of stuff in their friendships, are they also just the type of person who's volatile, even in low stakes ways in their romantic relationships?
I believe that most people have a conflict set point that makes them feel comfortable.
Right.
And my current conflict set point that makes me feel comfortable is 0 to negative 20. I just am so conflict averse at this point in my life. As a young person, I got a lot of my emotional needs met through drama, fighting. I liked relationships that involved a lot of screaming and yelling.
Right, because it's like, it's hot, it's sexy, it's right, it's, you feel alive.
I don't know. Maybe it was when I started having kids or whatever. That fire went out for me 100%. I am exactly the opposite now.
That's kind of how I feel.
I say all the time, jokingly, that the housewives or people in like conflict shows are like, say it to my face. And I'm like, never say it to my face. Anything bad you think about me, I beg you, talk about it to someone else behind my back. I don't ever want to engage. I'm not going to change. I'm sure I'm quite annoying to people. I don't want to fix it. And I don't want you to fix yourself. I am going to be annoyed with you and talk to my husband about how you're annoying. But I am not interested in having a conversation. My mom was a therapist and she said, don't ever have a conversation with someone that you don't genuinely think is going to change the situation. Right? And I just think I have learned that lesson so much. I'm not going to sit down with people and say, you're very annoying because of the way you blah, blah, blah. I have to say, I think I find people much less annoying. Now I'm middle-aged and I kind of realize like, oh, people have different personalities and sometimes they get in small conflicts and there is no reason I'm not going to actually change anybody.
So maybe the same people who are sending friendship breakup texts now won't be doing it in 10 years anyway. It isn't like Gen X did it this way and now millennials are doing it this way. It's like you're saying, no, 20-year-olds do it this way and 45-year-olds do it that way because we're all going to move towards this is silly.
Or people with need for high conflict do it one way and people who are dead inside like me don't. I definitely would never send that text to anyone and I really don't ever want to receive it. I'm being a little bit flip. If you came to me or my best friend came to me and said, you've really hurt me with your behavior, or I think we're having a problem in our working relationship, you and I, that is, it's bothering me, but it has to be something fixable. It can't be you're just too much or you're just not enough. Certainly you and I have had conversations where it's like, well, I felt you were dismissive of something that I was really worried about, or I feel like you're not invested enough in something that I'm finding to be a problem, or I've had these conversations with my spouse. But that's a very specific issue that needs to be worked out about how we're communicating about a specific thing.
Right. And with somebody who you need to have an ongoing relationship with, your sibling, your business partner, your spouse. Right. Like if you used to really have fun going for coffee with the mom from preschool drop off and it just doesn't really light your fire anymore, then you just drift apart. The idea that you have to have a breakup or set a boundary or whatever, it seems kind of foreign to me, but maybe there's an upside to it.
But you know what? I can think of examples of this where I get it. So let's take a break.
Okay. Hellions, it's time for some spring cleaning, and I don't just mean the coat closets. Doing your financial spring cleaning can actually be super easy when you let Monarch do your financial spring cleaning for you. One dashboard that gets your entire financial life organized. No more clutter, no more mess, no more logins scattered everywhere, just accounts, investments, property, and more, all in one place. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code FRESH. Monarch allows you to look not only at what you've already spent, but also to plan for the future. With Monarch, you can set savings goals, plan for big purchases, and notice spending trends before they become a problem. I can generate cash flow reports that show me what we spent this quarter, this month, what we're probably going to spend next month, and feel prepared, organized, and knowing how to plan for the future. No more surprises and a lot more clarity. Try Monarch. Use code FRESH at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code FRESH. My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that: taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE.
So I feel like you and I are both in a low conflict phase of life. And I think, are you naturally pretty low conflict?
Yes.
I think yes. You're like an oldest sister fixer. I can fix the problem, but I don't see you as, I sometimes joke about people. They like to bring gasoline to a fire. You like to bring water to a fire.
Right. I like to bring a blanket to a fire and hide underneath it. Yeah.
I've been a person in my life who's wanted to bring gasoline to a fire, but now I want to bring water only. Mm-hmm. I think there are ways to have conversations about problems that happen that can be fixed. But I also know people who have had long-term friendships and life comes at you, right? Generally, friendships are like, okay, I'm having a hard time. You hold me. Now you're having a hard time. I'll hold you. There are trade-offs and things that happen. But then sometimes in life, I think people can sometimes feel like, oh, I am the person who always holds this person's problems. This person is never available to hold my problems. And in fact, this person has come to start to seem to resent me for my problem, whatever. People's friendships do get off course, and I think that is worth addressing and correcting.
I wanted to see if men and women want different things from friends, and that's why female friendships, if they're closer, also tend to be higher conflict, like what we're looking for in friends. So there's a communication professor named Jeffrey Hall who works at the University of Kansas. And he broke down 6 categories that anybody, women or men, look for in a friend.
Okay.
And what you were saying before about you carry me, then I carry you, that was one of them. So anyway, the first one is genuine positive regard. The idea the other person likes you, is happy to see you. I think it's mutual, like, oh yeah, hi Margaret. Like, oh, it's nice to see you.
Yes.
That's genuine positive regard. You have to have that. Self-disclosure was the second one, which was I can be vulnerable with you. I can discuss something personal with you and it's safe.
Yes.
And you won't tell people. But then in there is also a reciprocity. As you were saying, if it turns into it's the Amy's Problem podcast that you just, listen to every week.
Yes.
And every episode's kind of the same. And there's never like your turn podcast, that the imbalance can get in the way. But you have to be able to be vulnerable to be in a friendship, or that sharing vulnerabilities is a way to deepen friendship. Then he said instrumental aid was the third thing he said, which is a friend is willing to provide tangible support to you when the going gets rough.
Yep.
Help you move, watch your kids for the weekend, tangible support. Similarity, which is that you see the world in a like-minded way.
This has gotten more complicated in our current environment, for
I was going to say,
sure.
these days, you can really enjoy somebody's company and then be like, oh, I didn't know that thing. Oh, interesting.
Studies have shown that the stakes of our beliefs right now are so heightened that crossing over those divides can be very hard. And I think about our conversation with Britt Barron, who wrote the book, Do You Still Talk to Grandma? And talking about, I have come to the belief after being on some of my own soapboxes that not letting divides divide us as much as they have been lately would be a good idea.
Yeah. On the other hand, I'm thinking of somebody who I see regularly at an exercise class, who I like very much. We're friendly. Her Instagram posts in recent days have shown a real difference of opinion from the way I feel about something that really whoa, okay. It isn't that I don't want to be friends with this person. It's that I think I probably can't be better friends with this person.
Yeah.
That kind of gets in the way too.
Yeah. I think it's not letting that post erase everything else is where we've gotten to. It doesn't mean that you have to be best friends. And it certainly doesn't mean that you have to support views that are completely anathema to you. But I think that we've all swallowed the pill a little bit of you're on one side or the other. And anytime you show that you're not on the right side, we're done for is not amazing.
I have to send you a friendship breakup text. Right. There's enjoyment, which is having fun in each other's company, feeling that the conversation is easy and entertaining. I'm not sure how that's different from genuine positive regard.
Well, having fun.
Yeah. Thinking somebody's a nice person.
I can like you and find you boring. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you're fun to be with. And then agency, which is that your friends will use their influence to help you out, to get your kid a summer internship, or to, I don't know, this was a guy coming up with these categories. So it's interesting that that's a category of friendship, right? But
yeah, I would not think of that. And I think in some ways that's maybe a little bit of a weird one.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting, and this is sometimes where people go wrong, is that you can have friends that have some of these and not other ones. I don't know that you need all six. Maybe your best friends or your closest friends have all of them. But I can think of a lot of people who I have a lot of fun with, whose political views are opposite mine. I have fun with people who I am not great friends with. And then I have similarities with people who I'm not discussing intimate topics with. I think you can have a range of these things.
That's right. And people who you deeply admire who aren't like a ball to go to a concert with or something.
That's right. And I also think that that takes a little pressure off, that you maybe don't have to write the paragraphs of text to say, okay, I thought Amy and I were all six friends, and I'm realizing that we're really just positive regard and instrumental aid friends, but we're not similar in enjoyment or whatever. You know what I mean? I think it's okay to have friends who meet different needs.
This is a quote from Olga Kazan, who wrote this article for The Atlantic about friendship breakups and what's the deal with friendship breakups. And she said, the resounding chorus from everyone she interviewed is that no one person can fulfill all of your needs. Some friends are good listeners. Some invite you on fun trips. The person you call in a crisis might not be the one who tells the best jokes at happy hour. So agreed. And maybe some of these unnecessary conflicts are coming from maybe somebody's bad at remembering your birthday, but they're super fun to go to Tuesday tacos with once a month. And that's all it has to be. You don't have to send them a text about how they let you down.
Right. And the old internet joke of this is not an airport. You don't have to announce your exit, your departure. It's also okay to recategorize people just in your own head and say, okay, well, I was thinking we were this friend, but we're that friend.
Right.
And I do think that women have an instinct to say, I need Amy to know that I'm changing her friend category in my mind. And I think I would argue that you don't actually. It's not going to lead to peacefulness. Maybe I sound like an old lady when I say this stuff, but the boundary setting and all that, you can do all that, but you don't have to let the other person even know. You
Right.
know,
No announcements
that
necessary.
it is time that I finally set a boundary with you, Amy, that I am not going to be available for your phone calls and da, 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 da. If it's not going to result in a good outcome with the other person, like, why are we engaging in it, I guess?
And I think the whole point is you have these things that are important to you, these 6 things. You don't screen. It's not like a dating app. It isn't like, oh, I see you every week at Pilates and you tell good jokes. Will you be there for me when my kid is in the hospital? Like, who knows? So maybe I do lean into it and then discover 6 months in that you're not somebody that I can depend on when the time gets rough. You're just flaky and super fun. We don't interview for, you see what I'm saying? And so then we think it's like this huge letdown when we didn't screen for that on the way in, when we started laughing after Pilates class.
And lives are long. My best friend, I met her when we were 13 years old. You wouldn't marry someone you met when you were 13. And we've navigated a lot. But I think part of it is that we hold that friendship somewhat loosely. You know, we've separated and come back together many times in our lives and had periods where we lived together and then periods where we maybe didn't speak for a year. But we do kind of pick up where we left off. And I think that maybe sometimes that very close or best friendship feels more like a marriage, like you have to divorce or I don't think the conflict is wrong. Obviously, you're going to have conflict with people who you've been with for many, many years. You know who has an amazing version of this is this season. Did you watch the last season of White Lotus?
Yes.
There's 3 female friends.
And they talk about whoever's not there.
Yeah, they've been friends since high school, but they really have a kind of a grotesque relationship in a lot of ways. Yeah, whenever one of them leaves, the other 2 talk about how terrible she is. And I don't know, I found that portrait of friendship really interesting. Their kind of love for each other and just the fact that they've known each other for so long means so much. I was just with my best friend and we've known each other for 40 years, you know, and my parents have gotten older. My mom died. Her parents have gotten older and seeing them. And we just sit and laugh now. It's fun to have been friends with someone for so, so long.
So these 6 categories of what we look for in friends, Dr. Hall wanted to see if women and men value these categories differently. And guess what they do? So he discovered in his research that women have higher expectations for their friends in symmetrical reciprocity, as in I tell you my problems and you tell me your problems, or I'm there for you and then you're there for me. It has to be reciprocal. Yeah. Women really value that. Women really value, more than men, intimacy that comes through disclosing, through vulnerability. So women have expectations around being intimate, being reciprocal, and solidarity and having things in common. And that men were higher in agency, which is so funny because the agency is you'll help my nephew find an apartment. And you were like, that's a weird one. That was my instinct too. Like, this is a strange one. And even Olga Kazan, the author of this Atlantic article, was like, this a strange one called agency. And per Dr. Jeffrey Hall's research, that's the one of the 6 that men have higher expectations of from a friend than women.
I was hearing agency a little bit more as transactional, like you'll help my kid get a job. I do think that one of the things I love about being from a big family and having friendships is, hey, my kid is moving across the country, but they're going to be near you, you know? And I think of a friend of ours who said, oh, I live in the town where your son's going to college. I'll make him dinner if he gets sick. Like the kind of the network and the reaching out. I do think that is an important part of friendship. That's a little bit more than I was hearing it first as the Carmela Soprano, like, you better write a good recommendation for my kid. Otherwise, my husband will.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not so transactional, but just like they do you favors. I have to go to a wedding this weekend and we're using my husband's friend's summer house. It's in a summer location. Yeah. We're using a summer house. Don't worry about it. No. Get out of here. You're not going to pay us anything for it. It's fine. Right. And that is obviously very kind of this friend. And I think that is something that I would value in a friend. And maybe men do a little more than women, that like you do favors for each other. It isn't I'll cry on your shoulder. It's much more I let you have my house for free. that's what I'm going to show you I love you.
I think that makes sense. Yeah. My husband is definitely not crying on anyone's shoulders.
So anyway, when we come back, let's talk about what do we do when we feel like we're disconnected besides send long breakup texts?
Love it.
At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or dsw.com today and let us surprise you.
Amy, when I'm having a good hair day, it usually makes my whole day better. And that's why on every day, I'm taking Nutrafol.
Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist-recommended hair growth supplement brand. And it's the #1 hair growth supplement brand personally used by dermatologists. Nutrafol's hair growth supplements are peer-reviewed, NSF certified for sport, and clinically tested.
Nutrafol offers multiple formulas for men and women tailored to different life stages and lifestyle factors, so you get support that's actually right for you. Adding Nutrafol to your daily routine is easy. Order online, no prescription needed, with automated deliveries and free shipping to keep you on track.
Let your hair be one less thing to worry about. See visibly thicker, stronger, faster-growing hair in 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol.
For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you visit Nutrafol.com and enter promo code LAUGHING.
That's Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code LAUGHING.
And now, when moms are bad at making friends.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast.
The introvert.
Oh my God. School pickup, please don't let anyone talk to me. Where is my kid? Oh no, I think that mom who invited me to book club once is coming this way. Oh, hi honey, I'll just be in the car. Come meet me over there.
The awkward mom.
Oh, hello fellow playground mom. Look, you've a small human person, just as I also do. Do you think that's enough information to build a lasting platonic bond with me? Okay, then I'll take your frightened scurrying away from me as a no.
The too busy mom.
Oh my God, yes, we need to hang out. Looking at my spreadsheet calendar, I think I might be free for a quick cocktail like next August around 4 p.m.
The just can't make normal conversation mom.
Don't talk about serial killer documentaries. Do not talk about serial killer documentaries.
3 minutes later.
And then it turned out he had a whole pile of bodies in his barn. Where are you guys going?
The 9 hours of sleep needer.
I would love to come to bunko night, but it starts at 8. And that's 30 minutes after my bedtime, so it's a hard no from me.
The oversharer. Oh, hi. You're Natalie's mom, right? How are you?
Oh, hi. I'm not great, actually. My son has this horrible stomach thing, and he was throwing up all night in the bed. Barf. In the sheets. I'm talking everywhere. And my husband's boss is a piece of work, but it's not like he can just start looking for another job right now. He is in a very tough field. And I'm really starting to worry about my mom's health. She has this weird rash, and the doctors say it's fine. But you know, sometimes these things seem innocent, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with the flesh-eating virus of the face.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Natalie's mom.
Oh, no, my daughter's name is Linda. I don't think we've met.
This has been When Moms Are Bad at Making Friends.
From the What Fresh Hell podcast. So I don't want friendships with drama, female friendships.
Okay.
I think you don't either. We're talking about this low conflict stance that we're at. I don't want female friendships to feel like work. It's like, why would I do that, right? Like, that's what you have a marriage, you work on it. You have good days, bad days. Friendships should just be like, nice to see you. And yet I wonder if the depth is supposed to require some work that I'm sort of whistling past.
I also think that we have to acknowledge that we live in big cities. And
that's interesting.
Maybe there's a little bit less pressure on friendships than when you live in a small town and there's, 4 people who you've been friends forever. And it's more of a dynamic. And then it's a little bit harder to do the thing I'm talking about. My best friend lives in California and we see each other, once a year if we're lucky. But if you're seeing each other, if you and your best friend are next door and raising your kids together, there's a lot more opportunity for conflict, a lot more opportunity for the balances to get off. So I do think also we're talking about our friendships and our stage of life in a way that it's very easy to do all the stuff we're talking about, which is hold it loosely. But if you are raising kids with another mom who has really different parenting, there's a lot more room for conflict at, I think, earlier phases of life.
And also a lot more opportunities to have lighthearted connection. When you're dropping your kids off every day at school or you're picking them up or you're on the soccer sidelines every week, or you're at ballet every week, and you see that nice mom and you chit chat with her, that's not the person who's going to like come visit you and your parent in hospice, but they're really nice and you're really happy to see them, right? But then when ballet and soccer goes away, like I'm coming from the future, and your kids graduate, you don't see those people anymore. And then I am like, is that weird? Is that weird that I still think about that nice mom at soccer? And 2 years later, that's where I do start to overthink it. Like, would it be weird if I reached out to Heather and said, hey, haven't seen you in a while. Let's have lunch. And have them be like, the woman from soccer?
Or I think also the dynamics of friendship that is more like a marriage, like a very close friendship where one person's, let's say, child becomes ill, chronically ill, seriously ill. And then of the 3 other friends, they're pouring all of their energy into this situation all of the time. That those can get very off balance. And even smaller examples where who's supporting who's not getting supported. And I don't mean to be dismissive of these things. I'm like, just let it go. Who cares? Hold it more lightly. These dynamics can be really challenging and really painful. And I've certainly felt it in my friendships and family and different relationships where it's like, hey, you really let me down. Hey, I feel like you took advantage of me. I feel like whatever happened here, we actually have to work it out because you are like my spouse. You are my best friend. And to lose that friendship would be like getting divorced. It can be really, really challenging and hard. And I think neither one of us has gone through that situation, but I have seen friends who have, it's like a marriage. Certain marriages, you're like, okay, you married a horrible narcissist monster and finally you're away from him. But there's also a lot of marriages where it's like, you two tried really hard and it didn't work out. And it's really hard.
Right.
You know, nobody's the villain.
Nobody's the villain. Michelle Elman makes a really good point in this book, Bad Friend, I thought, about friendship groups, like the play group, you know, the baby play group that you're in, or like the 3rd grade friends or whatever, that in any group of friends, she talks honestly in this book about like, I don't have a group of friends. I have friends, but I don't have 4 friends and we're all best friends. Or like White Lotus, like we go to Thailand together, we go on trips. She doesn't have that group of friends. And I guess I kind of do. I almost have a friend from here and a friend from there. And she said the thing about the friendship groups that's hard is there's usually at least one person in that group that you would never be friends with, were it not for the travel soccer that's bringing you together. Right. And so then once the travel soccer's over, it gets bumpy and weird. And that then when you don't have a group, she talks a lot in this book about the shame that you feel. When your friendship situation, I don't have a best friend. And other people do and I don't. I don't have a group. I've been in this new city for 2 years and I don't have a gang. I don't have it. And that there's so much shame around that. You feel like there must be something wrong with you, that your friendship situation isn't what you want.
Yeah, it's funny. This is one of the few topics that we talk about where I don't relate to this very much. I think that meeting people, making friends is, what do they call it with kids? It's a preferred activity and it's a positive skill. And then you could go to the other side and be like, here are my negatives. I understand that people feel this way, but I feel lonely and I don't have enough people to talk to is a feeling that I have not experienced since I was like a young kid.
You're an extrovert.
I am a hyper extrovert. I mean, I think on the extrovert scale, I am
You're off it. You're
way
like a
far
dot
down. I mean, like
you're skewing the whole study.
Yeah. My biggest problem is I have to almost outline the people who I want to see and talk to and visit with, because I always feel bad that I haven't seen so-and-so in a week or haven't had a phone call with so-and-so. But that list is extremely large.
I've been at a party with Margaret, and like, if you weren't being intentional, you could just talk to the bartender the whole night, right? You get in a really interesting conversation.
Yeah, I like talking to people. I really like meeting people. And then the bartender and I will find out that, you know, he dated my cousin and we'll become friends. And then I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to the bartender in like a week. I feel bad.
I identify more with Heather Havrileski. She is a really good writer, essayist. She used to have a advice column called Ask Polly for New York Magazine. Anyway, I love this quote from her talking about friendships. She says, I'm an incredibly emotional, sensitive, open human being, but I can also be very withdrawn, guarded, and judgmental. I'm 1/2 clown car, 1/2 armored vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, that clown car armored vehicle balance, thinking you're focusing on yourself like, oh, why can't I be more clown car than armored vehicle? And she suggests that having compassion for who you are is the way to start down the yellow brick road to better friendships, sort of accepting that there's nothing wrong with you, that you don't have that one best friend, or you don't have this. You can be intentional about changing it, but getting stuck on like, why don't I and what's wrong with me is counterproductive.
I also think it's interesting that these relationships don't have an arbiter usually. Like a spouse relationship, I can talk to you, which I never do for the record, and be like, my husband is being so annoying. Or we could go to a therapist and say like, hey, we're having this constant problem and help us work it out. With friends, you're kind of on your own. You're navigating it in one way. To talk about them feels like a betrayal, but they can be driving you crazy. I think the advice that I would go to, which is from my mom therapist, is behavior can be fixed and personality cannot be fixed. Hardwired stuff. What's a variable and what's a constant? One of my closest friends in the world, lifetime friend. I've known him for 40 years. When we were first friends, he would show up late everywhere and it would drive me crazy. And pretty early in our friendship, I just started leaving and saying, I'm not going to wait for you anymore. We still laugh about the fact that I would just be like, I'm not going to wait around, but that's a behavior. It's not like, I don't like the fact that you're so selfish or angry or you complain all the time. Those things can't be fixed. You can really only fix behavior. And I feel like I used to be a person who would have that conversation all the time. It's like, Amy, have a seat. I need to talk to you about how you are selfish and greedy. I used to have those conversations with people all the time. And I think I have learned that there's no one who I like everything about them. There's no one.
And there's
everybody annoys me in some way. Similarly, I annoy someone in
That's your memoir. Everybody
way.
Annoys me in some way.
Everybody annoys me. But also, I very much clock that I also annoy everybody. And what about that can be fixed and what about that cannot be fixed? You can only focus on behavior. You cannot change a person's personality. Do I want to be friends with a person with this personality? Or do I want to just choose a few of the 6 things to be how to engage with this person?
I think that's it. It's like you need to get these 6 things. The enjoyment. You need to have somebody that makes you laugh, and you need to have somebody that loves Broadway musicals as much as you. And like you can have friends that scratch each of these itches. I mean, I've always thought your romantic partner doesn't need to have all 6 of these things necessarily either, and neither do your friends. And so you just make sure that you have these in your life. They don't have to be with one person or one friend.
I think most people have figured this out about spouses at a certain point along the line, that my spouse is amazing at a million things, but I sometimes find when I'm trying to work out a problem with him, he's very solution oriented, and then I feel rushed and we get in a fight and you don't really understand how I'm but my sister is extremely good at talking those things through with me. One person can't be all of these things. And I think sometimes you can recategorize people or say, which is kind of the White Lotus conclusion. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched White Lotus, it's not even a spoiler, but like coming to the conclusion that having known someone for 30 years is worthwhile, no matter how much they drive you crazy. Maybe that's it too, you know?
I have this one little bit of advice that I have from Dr. Robert Waldinger, director of the Harvard Study on Adult Development, that if you want to reconnect with somebody that you haven't seen in a while, that you can reach out and you just ask what they've been up to. Just ask people, he says, tell you about the things that are most important to them, because curiosity goes a long way toward reconnecting people. Just really be interested in who this person is now. So I like that idea. That's a great open-ended way to reconnect with somebody that you've drifted away from.
We talked to Charles Duhigg, and that's his number one thing is curiosity about other people.
Makes a good friend.
And I also think that we go through a lot of seasons. If you receive the paragraphs of text, do you need to go back and say, listen, you're right. I did take my eye off of our friendship because I've been wrapped up in what's going on. Or you may say, the season is over for us, but via con Dios, it's been a great ride. You're not going to get everything from any one person. And you're certainly not going to get everything from someone throughout your entire season of friendships and kids and everything else.
Yeah. So I guess ease up on the expectations and go make more friends if you're not getting what you
Yeah,
want.
and I think when you're writing the text, come from your place of maximum generosity. Is there another excuse for this other than this horrible, selfish monster only talks about their kids when I wasn't able to have kids? I bet they didn't think about that. I bet if you pointed it out in a way that was friendly, you might be able to get somewhere. But if you've just realized they're a horrible person, you might want to walk away without the text. I don't know. Maybe that's ghosting and people don't like that either.
Yeah, it's ghosting if you don't respond. I guess it depends on how close the friendship is. I really don't need to know, person I see at Pilates sometimes, that you're setting a boundary with me. It's like, what? Wait, what?
No,
this is a Wendy's.
Please don't tell me.
Please don't tell me.
Say it behind my back. Please say it behind my back. I beg you, literally beg you.
Okay, so our friendships do not have to be this complicated. I think we've solved it.
I feel like we solved it by being like, get older and you won't care about anything.
Right. Kind of the theme.
Which when you're young probably is not that helpful. But believe me, life is better with less conflict. That's my point of view.
So we want to hear what you want to hear us talking about. We're doing more episodes these days on our own lives, on things like female friendships and cognitive biases, or things that we're interested in that really affect our lives. But we want to hear from you what you want to hear us talk about. And there's so many ways you can tell us. You can send us a DM on Instagram at WhatFreshHellcast. You can join our Facebook group, post it there. Facebook.com/groups/WhatFreshHellcast. You can send us an email, info@WhatFreshHellPodcast.com. You can leave us a voicemail on our website, WhatFreshHellPodcast.com. There's so many ways to get in touch with us. Just do it. Do it today.
Get in touch with us, share a topic, but don't say anything mean about us to our faces. Just say that part to your friends.
That's right.
And with that, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
So long.